Questions surround a decision to change ambulance service from one agency to another in Boone County. Tonight, board leaders say they'll answer why the decision was necessary. In just an hour, the Capron Rescue Squad will officially end as North Boone Fire Protection District 3 takes on its ambulance coverage. The move arrives days after 24 squad members from Capron Rescue learned their jobs no longer existed. Last Wednesday, Capron Rescue board members told squad members its services would be discontinued. They cited a 40% drop in calls over the past 3 years, but former squad members alleged their employment is needed. On Saturday, they claimed District 3 had 3 calls for an ambulance in the Capron area. One of those reportedly required a Lifeline ambulance out of Rockford, which took 30 minutes to arrive. Later at 10, we'll hear why board members felt the need to end Capron's ambulance service and how some former squad members questioned the legality of the discontinuation.